All right, Jonathan Blow. If you guys don't know who Jonathan Blow is, he's the creator of Braid and a few other games. Let's check out his wiki real quick. Jonathan Blow, born 1971, is an American video game designer and programmer. He is best known for his work on independent video games Braid, which released in 2008, The Witness, 2016. Blow became interested in game programming while at middle school. He studied computer science and English at the University of California, Berkeley, but dropped out to start a game company. After the company closed following the dot-com crash, Blow worked as a game development contractor. He co-founded the Experimental Gameplay Workshop and wrote a monthly technical column for the Game Developer magazine. Blow gained prominence in 2008 with Braid. He used its financial success to fund his next game, The Witness, and form a company called Thekla Incorporated. After a lengthy development period, The Witness was released in 2016, and like Braid, was critically and financially successful. During its development, Blow became frustrated with the programming language Thekla used to create the game. He began designing and creating a new programming language full-time on the language, codenamed J, and new game implemented. And a new game implemented in it began after the release of The Witness. A compiler for the Jai language is currently in beta release. Blow's games are known for being artistic and challenging. They are made with custom game engines and have larger budgets and longer development times than most independently funded games. Blow was featured in the indie game The Movie and is known for his strong opinions about the gaming industry. All right, another one I like to cover, man, is Phil Fish. Phil Fish is a fucking... he's an asshole. All right, hold on. Jonathan Blow, he's all right, though. I kind of like him.
Anniversary Edition was a failure. And Jonathan Blow, the game's creator, hasn't... Braid Anniversary Edition was a failure. And Jonathan Blow, the game's creator, hasn't been shy about sharing that.
Happy with
Defense was
Braid
fired.
Anniversary sales? No, they've been terrible. They've been utterly terrible.
But at least he's not coping about it. You know what I mean? He knows the game has been terrible, or like the sales have been terrible. But Braid, like, what is there to upgrade on Braid? Braid sucked? I didn't like it at all. I wasn't a big fan of Braid. I'm not gonna lie. I saw gameplay of it. I saw the whole Soldier Boy thing. I watched Indie Game the Movie. That Indie Game the Movie kind of like solidified me kind of going this route. Indie Game the Movie, watching the success of Super Meat Boy and Ed McMullen and all those guys, like watching them succeed, kind of lit a fire into my ass when it came to game dev and like kind of brought it back. The Soldier Boy clip, yeah.
You did buy a copy. Well, thank you for that. Now they are terrible -1.
It's quite a fall from grace. There used to be a time where, when you heard the words indie game, you thought of
Jonathan
Braid,
Blow, yeah,
whether you
or
liked the game
Braid.
or not. Braid was one of those games that
I always thought of Super Meat Boy. I thought Super Meat Boy was the coolest fucking game ever when Xbox started doing indie games. I thought it was amazing.
kicked off the era of the Xbox Arcade and the digital download, and marked the point where the games industry really started shifting away from physical media.
Yeah, they did.
And yet, this piece of history, which still holds up to this day, had almost no sales for its remaster. You might be quick to blame it on the current saturation of the indie games market.
No, not
and
at all.
I won't deny that's a factor.
Jonathan Blow is just kind of like he's old news, right? Like he hasn't, like what 2016, The Witness, and he just takes a long time to release games. And an anniversary of Braid is kind of like a cash grab, right? That's all it feels like to me. Is like what is there to do for fucking like an anniversary of a 2D game like Braid? You know, I understand like if you do like an anniversary or like a remake of a 3D game, or like totally revamp Braid, like if they made Braid like a 3D game, you know, or even like a Braid 2. But other than that, it's like a cash grab kind of, in my opinion.
When Braid released in 2008,
these are the differences. Like it's just different color like different backgrounds, color saturate. Well, this could be different areas of the map as well. I saw the movie too, and that's how I found out about it. Yeah. This looks like the same area, but look, it's not much changes, right? It's just like fucking extra shit on the ground. Different graphics have been changed, the background, but not too much, right? It's just more clutter Just more shit on the ground and in the background. Looks like the sprites are a little brighter, but all in all, it just looks like the same shit.
29 indie games were released on Steam. You might be quick to blame it on the current saturation of the indie games market, and I won't deny that's a factor. When Braid released in 2008, 29 indie games were released on Steam that year. Nowadays, it's around 8,000.
Yeah, 8,000. What, just a month?
That's about 20 new games a day. But we're talking about Jonathan Blow here. He's got a well-earned reputation and should be able to rise above those scary numbers. A simpler explanation, of course, is nobody bought a Braid remaster because it didn't need one.
We plan to make it the most detailed
Bought a Braid scary numbers.
Let's look at that
A simpler
comparison.
explanation.
Okay, yeah, just more shit on the ground, right? Just more background, filling more empty space. Like, this is, I mean, it looks nice. It looks nice. It's filling empty space that could have been filled back in the day, Yeah, the saturation's different. And it looks like the character sprites are a little bit more crisp.
Of course, is nobody bought a Braid remaster because
And that too.
it didn't.
Yeah, so like this is a little blurry. He's got more animations like for his turning.
Need one.
We plan
More animations for his turning. It just looks a lot crisper.
to make it the most detailed commentary in any game ever. If you want to learn how video games are made, Braid Anniversary Edition will be a really good resource.
Cool. Yeah, getting a game design course from a well-respected member of the industry is great. But for the average gamer, wasn't worth paying $20 to essentially buy the same game.
Yeah, so appealing towards game designers or game developers is nice and all, but you're not going to make a majority. You're not going to make a lot of sales from that because a majority of people don't give a shit. They just want to play the game. They don't care about what goes into the game because in a sense it kind of ruins the magic, anyways. Once you know how certain things work in a game, it kind of ruins the magic. It opens up more magic for others, like, oh, I know how they did this, or I wonder how they did this, but it like whenever you start seeing like patterns in game design and stuff, it does kind of ruin the magic. Like, oh shit, I don't know.
Again, the original still plays great, feels great, looks and sounds gorgeous, and nobody beyond the most hardcore fans of Blow were even asking for this. But after having finally checked out this game thanks to the phone version that came free with Netflix, I believe the lukewarm reception goes beyond
Oh, he got a Netflix deal. I wonder how much he got paid for that.
just nobody asked for this.
Yeah.
A lot of decisions made with this remaster felt very misguided. Like him or hate him, Jonathan Blow usually gets a lot of these decisions right, and here, he just didn't. So who is this hotshot Jonathan Blow anyway? Many people first became aware of Jonathan Blow through Steam's first listed movie ever, Indie Game The Movie.
Yep.
Yes, if you advertise your thing as the first ever something, suckers like me will buy it. The story follows a small documentary crew on a quest to find the world's most pretentious game developer.
Yo, you're not wrong, dude. Phil Fish just looks like an asshole. I'm sorry. Phil Fish is always... He's an asshole online, but he look at him, dude, twirling his little wine glass. What a little fucking cunt.
Wait, no. Maybe it's a story about a documentary crew trying to prank game developers by making them look as pretentious as possible.
Edmund doesn't come off as pretentious. I think he's funny. I don't think he comes off as pretentious. Maybe he does. Maybe you need a little bit of hubris to get through this shit. You know what I mean? Maybe that's what I'm missing. I'm missing some fucking hubris. I'm missing I'm better than everybody else. My shit don't stink. But that shit's dangerous. I mean, look at Pirate Software.
Not sure which.
And I was actually seriously depressed for...
It's great, John. Great interview. Okay, what I'd like you to do now is turn all the lights off and have you do some coding. We can get your silhouette here too, like you're that guy.
Yeah, that's kind of weird
Alfred
shit.
who? No, it's a reference to your game. Now, some people think Braid is about a breakup between a guy and a girl, and wrestling with relationship regrets. Others think Braid is about the Manhattan Project and the atomic bomb, and the girl represents Oppenheimer's reckless pursuit of knowledge. But after seeing Indie Game the Movie, I have the real answer. Braid is actually about a different type of Fallout. a fallout between two best friends, Jonathan Blow and Soulja Boy. A nerdy game dev and a goofy rapper living together under the same roof. It was supposed to be the feel-good sitcom of the fall season, but ended in tragedy when Boy tried Blow's new game.
Oh, man. Hey, it's your boy Soulja Boy. Tell him. Hey, they got this game, right, for people who smoke or people who drink. And you just, anything, like if you just be getting fucked up. They got this game, right? I don't know. This shit called Braid. And they ain't got no point to the game. You just walk around jumping on shit. It look like Mario in the future. You be like, oh, shit, I'm gonna die.
Naturally, Blow got memed on relentlessly.
Blow looks geek. Yo, he's so fucking mad. He's like, I want to say what he's thinking, but I'll probably get banned from YouTube. All right, I'm not going to.
For this, Blow was upset his best friend Soulja Boy and people like him weren't seeing the game the way he saw it. Soulja.
That was the I can't believe this expletive deleted. I can't believe this. You know, I don't know. That guy's fucking funny.
Boy was committing the one cardinal sin a gamer can commit: enjoying a game without considering its artistic themes and messages. So, who's in the right here? What are you supposed to see? Is Braid really about the atomic bomb? Is it about something else? Is Soulja Boy right to dismiss the game as having no point?
And they ain't got no point to the game. You just walk around jumping on shit.
I think it's fair to say the game is less about any one historic event or relationship, and more just the idea of searching for something. In the case of the atomic bomb references, it's a scientific pursuit, pushing discovery beyond what many consider ethical or humane, and wrestling with feelings of regret after. But you could play the game and get a different interpretation out of it, and I think it would still be valid. Frankly, I think without forum discussion, very, very few people who finished the game would even be aware these atomic bomb references exist. Beyond a single book in the epilogue, which quotes the events directly, I would argue that even Soulja Boy's interpretation of the game is just as valid as mine or Jonathan Blow.
That's the general population, right? They're not gonna. They don't care about the. They're not gonna care about the artistic reasoning of the game. They're gonna be like, is this game fun to play, right? The artistic portion comes later, right? Because whenever I played Inside, I wasn't worried about what the game's deeper meaning was. I was just worried about gameplay. And then later, after I beat the game, I was like, oh shit, that game was about fucking cancer. I think it was about cancer. I don't remember. I think that's what, at the time, that's what I read, that Inside was about cancer. Or even Limbo. When you play Limbo, like, the game was fun, but then the deeper meaning comes second. And that always happens with movies as well. That happens with movies. Fuck. I want to talk about, like, my first thought is always The Thing, all right? I always bring up The Thing, but, like, you watch the movie and it's engaging and shit, right? And then after you finish the movie, you know, you start looking back. It's like, damn, was McCready the Thing, or was the other guy, right? Oh shit, those bottles were probably filled with gasoline, not liquor. They were swigging them at the end. Who's the guy? And then you have like all these cockamamie theories, like they didn't have a shimmer in their eye with the camera. You know, it's just things to look back on, right? So gameplay's always first, and then the artistic reasoning is second. Because the people who play your game and purchase it, they're not going to care about the artistic reasoning at first, and if at all. So
Soulja Boy is absolutely right. The game does take tons of visual cues from Mario. The game is for stoners and alcoholics, especially for what part of the game he's at. His reaction is exactly what it should be: a guy having fun experimenting with the rewind. But Jonathan Blow wasn't having fun. He was distraught and depressed.
Some of the most demoralizing things were actually positive reviews of the game. And in many cases, it would be just a very surface understanding of the game that didn't even see what I thought was most special about it.
Oh, get the fuck over it, dude. You made millions of dollars. McCready or Child, yeah. millions of dollars on these guys were like the front games on Steam. They're like one of the first, or not Steam, apologies, Xbox. These guys were like the very first like guys to release games for the Xbox Arcade, all right, or just the Xbox like online store. Okay, so their sales were already going to be high, regardless. But you know, still, anyways, they killed it. They killed it. These guys whining. He's like, oh, they didn't notice this about the games. Like, I'm sure there's people out there that did, and that's going to be your hardcore fan base that's going to eat up anything else that you put out. But then you have like Joe Schmo, who's like, oh damn, this rewind is really fun to play. This rewind's really cool. I love this game because you can rewind time, and that's the main mechanic of the game, and that's the most appealing part. He got a bag, and it's going to be classic just because of history. Yeah.
Not that many people understood.
And I think this is the
Nobody understands me. It's not. I'm whimsical, and dark, and edgy, and balding.
exact point when people really started clowning on him. He'd pop up in forums and say, "This isn't just a game, it's more meaningful than that." And that sent people over the edge and made the pretentious label stick for good. Who is this nerd? He claims the game has multiple interpretations, but some are valid and some aren't.
That's all well and fine. And he is the creator of the game. He knows what he wanted his project to be, right? What he wanted to portray. The delivery in which the delivery that he wanted, or the reception that he wanted, failed. The reception he wanted, I want to say the reception failed because his delivery sucked. Now, obviously, the game was good because of the gameplay mechanics, but the message behind it didn't deliver quite as well as he wanted to, so people started getting their own thing. But he's more than able to come out and be like, hey, this game's actually about this, and then let people run with it. You know, not be a fucking soy fucking loser and be like, oh man, I wish people are wrong about this. You know, I don't know. It's more of a nerd moment. Yeah.
Well, I think Blow wasn't good at communicating his intent with these forum posts, and
True.
they got taken the wrong way. Here's a great quote from Jonathan Blow's other favorite rapper, Jay-Z.
Right now, the music comes out like this. People are writing a review in a day. First of all, you can't listen to an album and rate it in a day. It's just impossible.
Well, Magna Carta classic, 10 minutes after it comes out.
Yeah, it's
It's
impossible
you have
to
to
even
live with
get
it.
what and the nuances, all the instrumentation, all the words, what is being said in the music.
I think what Jay-Z says here is closer to what Blow was trying to convey. Just like how the worlds and paintings show various stages of a story, your interpretation of those stages depend on what stage of life you're in. The first time I played this game,
Turn it
I
down
was
a
in
bit.
college. Then I played it again after a breakup from a 3-year relationship. Now I'm playing it while living in Japan with my wife and child. Even though it's the same game,
Ron?
I get something a little different from it each time because I'm a little different. Of course, this is true with almost anything, but it feels more pronounced.
Turn down your phone, baby.
What?
Can you turn on your phone?
Why?
Because my mic's picking it up.
Your mic sucks.
You suck.
In this game because everything is so open to interpretation. When Soulja Boy says it's just a Mario game and it has no point, Blow fears this reading might cause people to dismiss the game and never find new meaning from new playthroughs. He wants people to reflect on their lives and not just use the game for passive escapism. Having just offended him, the way he expresses this desire really is extremely pretentious.
Like, oh, I visualized that I was going to have some kind of connection with people. And they think it's great, but the connection isn't there because they're kind of living in a different world still.
Interviews with him come off like he's this star child who understands the world just a bit differently than us regular folks. He wishes he wasn't alone with these heavy thoughts, but people just can't see what he sees.
So they think it's great for some of the reasons that I do, but not for other.
Look, I taught English for 10 years, and there are definitely times when I can see an inherent beauty to the language that others who haven't spent so much time staring at it may not. But I'm not going to chastise my students for not seeing or appreciating that same beauty. If they don't see something, it's not because they're not ready for it or because they're too simple-minded. It's because I did a bad job explaining it. It's
Exactly.
not their fault.
That's the same thing I'd say and have said, right? His delivery for his message failed. He wanted a different reception for the game, and who's to say if that delivery was correct, your game would have flopped? I don't think it would have flopped personally, because it was like again, Xbox arcades early fucking days, and not many games on there anyways. If you were gonna release during that time, you're probably gonna have a good size bank account, right? Especially if you're developing during that time and releasing. But his message would have fell on deaf ears because he delivered it improperly, or just delivered it wrong, which is fine. It's fine. You just fucking pack up and learn and try to do it again, or try to do it better. Release like an actual statement and be like, hey, this is what the game's actually about, and fucking that's it. You know what I mean?
It's
not to get so introspective. Like, you don't need to get all introspective. I get like hyping up the camera or playing into the camera, but this fucking like woe is me, kind of people don't understand the game kind of deal. It's kind of whack. If Braid came out today, it would have done substantially less good. Agreed.
mine. So
Platformers just don't do good in general unless they're like really set apart. Like really set. They have to stand apart from everybody. Platformers are more platformers are released on Steam all the time. It's like the easiest type of game to make. So it really needs to be a cut above the rest. I think like the last good platformer that came out was Celeste, and that was years ago. I haven't heard of a fucking single platformer to come out that like took headlines in a while, or like everyone was like raving about, right? Even the latest Super Meat Boy, I heard didn't do too well.
when I go about critiquing this anniversary edition of Braid, I'm not saying that I'm smarter than Blow, because I'm definitely not. But being smart and being good at conveying ideas are two different things. And
True.
Today, as a student of this guy's game design course, I'm critiquing how the teacher presented the material.
That's what makes English the world's toughest language.
Yeah, it is the
Because
toughest language.
to
To me,
learn.
it's the easiest.
So let's dive into the commentary system for this game, which contains the majority of the new content and most of my issues. After a warning recommending you complete the game first, most people will start in one of two places. If this is your first time booting up the game, you'll likely go straight to the playthrough version. If you've come here after just beating the game without commentary, you might start in the upper left corner instead and work your way around the circle. It seems pretty manageable and logical at first glance,
Okay.
but once you go through one of these doors, you realize just how much there is to wade through. Doors upon doors upon doors of commentary.
Oh my
It's like
God.
that phenomenon where a restaurant has too many items on the menu and your eyes glaze over and you end up not choosing anything. To be fair,
So it's basically like he wrote a book. What he could have did in a book, he made into a game, or like added on to a fucking old game and slapped anniversary on it. Like, here's what I know about game design. I'm gonna slap it in the game and fucking, set another price tag on it and call it the anniversary edition, so I make money on it that way. He could have released a book, but it might, obviously it wouldn't have sold as good. I'm not sure how books sell nowadays, kind of like that. Wow, game dev sniffing his own farts, the game.
once you spend a couple hours with the system, I can kinda see what he was going for. This whole thing probably started as a commentary for a normal playthrough, but as time went on, he probably found more commentary tidbits that wouldn't belong in a playthrough, like cut content or more overarching gameplay mechanics. Eventually, he probably got to the point where he had so many audio files, he said, oh, I should sort these by person too, and by topic. What this means is that there's a lot of overlap between information. A commentary node you found in one area appears again in another, and another.
Okay.
To help combat this overlap, the commentary world will have grayed out books, indicating you've already heard something. But the playthrough mode doesn't have these books. And sometimes portals will appear with no books, which send you to related topics you probably heard before. Basically, you'll stumble into repeated information a lot. Information is even repeated among commentary nodes. Blow recorded a few different interviews with friends of his.
I don't see this like being a good. I mean, obviously, it's not selling well, right? This game sales are terrible for him. Like normal people aren't going to care about this. Like a normal person who's not a game dev is not going to sit through fucking Jonathan Blow's 101.
Is playing through the game, kind of like a let's play.
He probably would have had more success releasing a book. Probably.
Podcast. These are by far the worst commentary nodes in the game, because the
Or even a
discussion is
podcast.
generally surface level and talks about things that anyone who's played the game already knows about.
Okay, bonk, bonk, bonk. We bonked all the guys. Oh, damn it, how do I get over there? If only that guy were still there. From like a computer science point of view, a greedy strategy isn't always the right one. You might want to look ahead a little bit and not immediately do the thing which seems naively like making progress. So these trolls, these monsters, they're not just opponents, they're going to turn out to be really vital resources in how we solve the puzzles.
Okay, you get the idea. Now, if you've never played Braid before, you might have found that interesting. But really, all they're talking about is just how to solve the puzzle.
Right.
Anyone who's beaten this puzzle already knows this logic because they experienced it themselves when they found the solution. In one of the next commentary nodes, Jonathan
redundant
Blow
shit.
goes on to explain that same information again, this time in a scripted recording.
The idea for this level is that you need to bounce off this monster's head in order to get across this gap, but you probably killed the monster on the way up. So by the time you get to this platform here and can't figure out a way up, there is no longer a monster down there.
This is what I mean by repeated information. Instead of having two nodes, the discussion one should have just been cut, and the scripted one should have been written under the assumption the player knows the solution. Later on in the game, he talks with his friend about a technical detail, then places a second node next to it that fixes a mistake from their discussion.
Is it a 1 over r squared rule?
If I remember correctly, it is a 1 over r rule because it's 2 dimensions. Quick sub 110 feel I settled on a function involving 2 to the minus r.
Again, just cut the first node with the bad information.
Right.
Advertising for this game touted this as having the most commentary information.
So not only like he's just got a bunch of bloat in here, with like just rambling. You're supposed to view him as a god and his insight irreplaceable. I mean, I don't. He's a good game designer, right? But he's what, released 2 games, which were fairly successful. Like they're really successful, right? He wrote a column for game design. I mean, I don't see any differences between him and like any other fucking guy who does this shit like on a daily. Like there's people out there who's made multiple games, and you know, it's the luck of the draw, man. That's all I'm gonna, like. It's all it can be, right? The luck of the draw. He's just able to. He also had time on his side too. Like the Xbox Arcade, damn sure fucking helped him out, big time. Xbox Arcade helped him out big time as far as sales and shit go.
Advertising for this game touted this as having
adding that many. My Discord keeps popping off. Hold on. Adding all that bloat. Adding all that bloat to the game just ruins the experience for one. For the game, you could have did more levels. You could have done all kinds of shit. How do I fucking set this up? Okay, sorry. I had to enable streamer mode. There was no games on Xbox Arcade that weren't a success. You're probably right.
having the most commentary ever in a game. Most doesn't equal better. I'm reminded here of one of my favorite quotes I think about when I write my scripts, which is, if I had more time, I would have written a shorter letter. Meaning,
Soldier
of
Boy.
course, that a concise script takes more time to polish, but is far superior to just rambling on and on.
Yep.
Jonathan Blow has clearly never heard this quote because even his scripted nodes are in desperate need of an editor and go well beyond the point of brevity.
How much wider should it be? One answer is barely wider.
There is, it feels like you could almost jump across, almost twice. The players can imagine this to be a way of maybe if I run to the very edge, oh, you're so close. Every last instant I might be able to make it. Missing this just doesn't work. All the way back to the left. Climb the ladder, run to the right, and try. That is certainly enough. He didn't come aren't used to using rewinding. Much earlier, the gap is extremely wide. Be some music to it's hard to do things. This is really
all that for a fucking gap.
A little bit wider.
A bit of inane rambling wouldn't be such a big deal if you could play through the game while he's talking.
Just because you can,
but
don't mean you
commentary
should.
nodes
True.
cut off the second you leave a room. So you've got scenarios like this, where he's talking for 6 minutes about something that could be explained in 30 seconds, and you're trapped in a room with no puzzles and nothing to do. It's easy to build resentment for the person talking, or just give up entirely. There is at least a way to skim through the audio, but it's terribly implemented. You can press a button to go forward or back in the recording, 10 seconds exactly. But the subtitles shown on screen are only shown for about 4 to 7 seconds each. Meaning, if you want to get the gist of a discussion and speed read it, half the time you're skipping over written information, making it harder to follow than it should be. What annoys me about this so much is that there's already a system in place to fix this. If you leave a room without finishing a commentary and return to it, it always takes you back precisely to the start of the last played subtitle, not a 10-second interval.
So these trolls, these monsters. So these trolls, these monsters.
See? They should have
just
applied
skip,
this
yeah.
system to the skip button as well, so you could read the subtitles as you scrub through the audio. But they just didn't for some
We're gonna
reason.
find this video.
Is it possible that Jonathan Blow didn't even try using this skipping feature? No, it isn't. But the opportunity to make a joke about how he would never skim through a recording of his own voice is somewhere in there.
That's someone who wants to get banned from this channel.
I don't want to just bash this commentary world relentlessly, but the first impression it leaves is so foul, it might motivate you to write a video essay about it too. The biggest issue, in a lot of ways, is that first impression. The first door you'll gravitate toward is that top left door, so you can work your way around the circle. But like I said, the conversations behind this door are some of the worst nodes because they're just casual, unscripted, meandering conversations containing information you already know. Particularly the first one with Chris Moore.
My name is Chris Moore. I'm a professor of computer science and physics at the University of New Mexico.
I'm sure he's a nice guy, and I'm very, very sure that Jonathan Blow was thrilled to be able to talk to one of his heroes and put it in his game. But this conversation could have, and should have, been a podcast or a YouTube video.
Yep.
The best nodes are the ones containing information nobody else would be able to tell you. You know, the concept art nodes are fantastic
That's
and really
cool.
interesting. The music and sound effect nodes reveal a lot about the effort put into this remaster and go into great technical details specific to this game. A lot of the programming ones are great too. I really enjoyed the one about the particle effect technology and the challenges there. Probably my favorite nodes are the ones where Blow created playable alternate versions of existing levels.
That too.
These are a great example of show, not tell.
Yep.
And I think many of these levels could have outright replaced multiple commentary nodes and trimmed everything down. Players should have been guided towards these nodes first. Instead, the most boring, surface-level content is put front and center, discouraging people from finding the genuinely cool treasures hidden later. One of those genuinely cool treasures I've neglected to mention are the all-new levels. When I heard new world and levels in the advertising, I assumed these were the new levels. Because I'm so jaded by modern gaming, my expectations are perpetually kept low to avoid constant crippling disappointment. Thankfully, I was wrong. Hidden within the commentary world's endless sea of doors are actual handcrafted new puzzles.
Oh man, you have to actually go through the commentary shit to get to the new level. That's kind of an L. You should have that like either part of the game or like in an extra, like have a fucking door that says extra levels or something, you know what I mean?
Puzzles. It's a shame they're so well buried because they're easily the best part of this edition and continue to push the game mechanics to the limit. Although a few of them are just advanced versions of concepts we've already seen. But all of them made me laugh with joy and took me back to when I first played the game, which is really all an Anniversary Edition can hope to do.
Oh yeah. Oh my god, this is so good. That is amazing.
Maybe if these levels had been featured more prominently in the advertising instead of the commentary, sales would have gone differently.
Yep.
My only critique really is just how tedious these are to replay. They're all buried deep within several screens of doors, and while some just require you to walk a long way, others require you to solve a second puzzle to access them, which can take several minutes. It would be nice if, after you got all the puzzle pieces, a new cloud room opened up that let you replay these quickly, similar to the cloud rooms for the other worlds. Going a step further, I really wish this game came with a level editor. Forget about the commentaries, forget about the new graphics, forget about the new puzzles. This is, far and away, the one thing they should have been working toward.
Yo, for real, if you want to teach people how to fucking, if you wanted to teach more game design shit, this would have been the best thing you could have done, is a level editor. It gets people, like, people are already familiar with your game. They know how the mechanics work if they've played it, right? Now they can use those tools to make their own levels. That's probably the best. That would have been the best takeaway for someone trying to learn game design from a game. Use the tools, or use the tools and mechanics in the game to make your own level. That'd have been perfect for it.
And I think it shows a clear lack of priorities. Everything in this new edition feels like it's building toward a level editor. The commentaries are, as they've stated themselves, a course in game design.
So, you want to design a video game.
This is why the game design commentaries from Chris and Jonathan frustrate me so much, because they spend literally hours teaching all these level design philosophies for this game, then don't give you the outlet to try these ideas for yourself.
Yep.
And when they talk about alternate level designs and Blow offers his ideas on what something might look like, I'm sitting there thinking, okay, this is interesting. I wonder how I would tackle this design problem. You know, it could have been a fun direction to take the game and break up the monotony of putting down the controller in 3 to 5 minute intervals.
A step farther, they could have just did like, they could have had the level designer and just a short tutorial or a tutorial with the same game design ideas and principles, right? Like, you could have like a how-to list or anything like that, and they could show you like a recorded video on how to use their tools and why you should do it this way, or how puzzles are made in the game that way, instead of just like a philosophy talk, or them going over each level or puzzle and fucking going through it for like just crazy for what, 5 minutes, 6 minutes long.
Even the new puzzles themselves feel like level editor puzzles. Platform layouts like this, cannons floating in midair. You know, the vanilla game would never have stuff like this. Everything was always custom-built scenes. This feels like it was specifically made with the tile set from a level editor.
Yeah.
There was a similar thing in Mario Maker 2. Other Mario games feature level layouts or mechanics that you wouldn't be able to make with the Mario Maker toolset. But here, the single-player levels in the game were all level editor-type levels to give a taste of what tools were available, give people ideas, you know, give the impression that anything is possible because Nintendo used those same tools. The new Braid puzzles feel the same way. If Jonathan Blow ever decides to make major updates to this game, I would gladly throw down an extra $10 to design my own Braid levels and have some kind of level sharing service similar to Mario Maker.
Yeah.
I know this stuff wouldn't be trivial, but some of the technology for this already exists through Steam with the workshop stuff, right? So maybe it could be a Steam exclusive DLC or something to cut development time. Speaking of different versions, since the Netflix mobile version is free, I assume a lot of people watching this video who have Netflix accounts might go on to check out that version. You should know there are 3 major version differences that you'll definitely want to be aware of. First, it features an extra area exclusive to this version, where Jonathan Blow talks with one of his indie dev brethren about the business aspects of game development. It's by far one of the most interesting set of commentary nodes in the game, particularly because it was recorded well after the normal anniversary edition released, and the game because it was recorded well
$20, dude. $20, definite cash grab.
Well after the normal anniversary edition released, and the game was shown to have had poor sales. He talks about his mounting debt, what it feels like to employ people.
Wow. Let's see real quick. GameStats.com. GameStats.com. Let's see how much Braid actually made. Braid. Ooh. Braid in 2009 on sales alone on Steam. This is just on Steam. Made close to $1 million. All right, made close to $1 million. He probably made more than that just because of the Xbox and PlayStation. I'm not sure if he made a PlayStation release or not. Xbox definitely was the cash cow for him. Steam, I mean, $1 million, brother. Braid anniversary, 530,000. Still good. Still damn good. That's a good fucking chunk of change there, man. Again, I'm a solo dev. I would kill to have $530,000 in my bank account. Tell you what, Bobby. I mean, even 4,500 followers, 1,300. He says this is bad. That's good. Whatever. And just to give an idea of how accurate this is, let's look at Idle Streaming Bonanza. Okay, Idle Streaming Bonanza says I've made around $2,400 net. That sounds about right. 2,600 gross, 2,200 net. So only $200 off. So GameStats seems pretty accurate. There's gonna be some wiggle room, but that's also including like I'm sure GameStats doesn't include like the sales I've had and stuff. So I'm not sure if it accounts for that.
Pile in debt and the advantages and disadvantages of partnering with Netflix. It's a shame that these conversations are available only in this version, and it feels a bit dirty that the other versions weren't updated to include these. But they seem to have recorded it specifically for the deal with Netflix, so I guess that's the way it goes. Second, this version marks the first time ever Braid is available for mobile devices, which surprised me because The Witness has been out on phones for a while. With that comes new controls, and it's a mixed bag. The movement is fine and the other buttons work well enough, although in hectic moments, the right side buttons can move around the screen if you fat finger the interface. I'd love to see them add a setting that locks the buttons in place, because right now that doesn't seem to be an option. The rewind and fast forward controls, though, are absolutely fantastic, and by far the best thing about this version. They're objectively superior to the old system, which is a rare feat for mobile controls.
Oh, that's cool. I like
Normally,
that.
when you want to speed up the rewind, you have to spam the button to get to 1, 2, 4, 8, and it can be annoying to spam, and it's also easy to overshoot and rewind too far. In the mobile version, you can go from 1 to 8 instantly with a flick, and you have greater control of the in-between speeds. It feels fantastic. There's also a dedicated position for 0 by holding toward the left, which is an amazing touch. However, there's a puzzle later on that breaks now because of the new controls, and although the puzzle is still possible, it requires way more steps now and is not the traditional intended way. In the normal version of the game, you can press the Use button on your controller, or press Up on your keyboard to record your shadow flipping this switch. Then, when you play it back and raise this platform, the recorded shadow is able to hit the switch. This behavior is impossible on the mobile version because the Use button for hitting switches is now a context-sensitive button that appears and disappears. This means you have to record a shadow twice, increasing the difficulty of this puzzle significantly by requiring 2 perfect recordings in a row, which no other puzzle in the game requires. I hope at some point they add the ability to activate switches on the mobile version by pressing up on the virtual joystick, so that the normal version for this puzzle is still possible. Lastly, if you decide to check out this free Netflix version, you should know about an easily reproducible save glitch I've encountered. Essentially, when you start up the game, the first save slot's data is deleted. You can see here footage of me easily reproducing this. Goes without saying that you should save in all 3 slots to be safe. Saving is an extremely quick process, so it's not too bad.
That
but
sucks.
Just don't go getting that 2-hour cloud star without saving in every slot.
Yeah.
John, if you're watching this, please fix
You already
this
closed
one.
the video.
I watched about the first few minutes, and again, it was just like, dude.
If it helps, the save slot seems to be intact when the game opens, but the moment you take control of your character, the puzzle pieces, the commentary books, everything is reset. It would be unfair of me to conclude this review focusing so much on the negatives, so I'd like to talk about a few small details I really enjoyed.
Fuck you.
I really enjoyed the graphics toggle, which is standard in modern re-releases, but
Oh,
I think
that's
it
cool.
fits
I like that,
particularly
yeah.
well here because so many of those little details in this game are intentional hints at some sort of overarching message. Because many of these scenes were redrawn.
I do like it when anniversaries do that. Sage, what's going on? I miss you, friend. Yo, well, hey, I'm over on YouTube. You can come check me out, man. That's usually where I stream. I'm streaming on Twitch right now. I'm experimenting. I might do a kick stream as well. I don't think I have enough monitors. I need to upgrade my the way I do things so I can stream on all 3 platforms. So
Toggling between them lets
but I'm mainly on over on YouTube.
You spot the major differences immediately and pulls them into focus. I think the puzzle murals are the best example of this. In this mural, I barely noticed the poster on the wall there at all, but in the update, it's prominently featured as that iconic Uncle Sam I Want You poster. This one really surprised me. Apparently the whole time there was a woman in the window there, and she's been given quite a lot of focus in the new art. In the old version, most people probably didn't even realize she was there. Then, when I was capturing footage for this review, I realized there was a boy hiding under those covers the whole time.
Oh shit, I didn't even see that.
It's amazing how the smallest changes in shading and outlining can completely change the tone of these paintings. On the same note, regarding the toggle, I liked how, even though some areas had new music tracks, those new tracks remain in sync with the old ones when you toggle, which is something not every remaster bothers to do.
I thought Halo did it well. Halo Anniversary, I thought it did it well, where you press select and it switches the graphics over. I most use YouTube for videos. I haven't watched too many lives. Yeah.
Alright, to summarize, I think this edition of the game had a lot of potential, but priorities were just out of whack.
True.
A native level editor and more puzzles could have easily justified a purchase for many people. Instead, all the effort toward new content was put into the commentary. But, thanks to YouTube, blogging, and podcasts, commentaries just aren't as valuable to a game as they were 10, 20 years ago. And
True.
Even if they were, the system here is so bloated and has so many issues, it all just feels not worth it. On Steam, only 6% of people even got through the new puzzles, and I'd imagine far fewer actually sat through all the accompanying commentary. I think Jonathan Blow could stand to take some advice from one of my favorite game designers, indie
Private
developer
Parts?
Jonathan Blow.
Oh, no.
In one of his recent game releases, Braid Anniversary Edition, he talks about the skill of recognizing bad ideas.
One way that puzzle games end up being mediocre is
Way
when
to
designers
bite your
make stuff
ass.
like this and just
Bite
decide,
your own
hey, it's
ass.
good enough. To really produce high quality work, you want to notice ugliness like this when it happens, and then ask yourself, can't I find a more elegant way to do this? But for this to go well, you have to be astute and honest in observing what's bad. This is an actual skill you can improve.
Oh,
And
no.
then see if there's a way to refine bad things into good things. If not, you need to have the courage to dump the bad idea and to try to put something else in its place, even if you don't yet know what that might be.
Nobody's perfect, and nobody can recognize every bad idea, especially someone so close to the project. What he needed was a team of editors, a group who can look at all these doors, make large, sweeping motions with a scythe, and have just a bit of veto power over some of these decisions.
And some other basic functional things about the game would get uglier. For example, on the cloud screens, we would need to have a big row of 12 doors every time.
So you agree, a screen full of doors looks bad. The truth is, he probably did recognize the system had issues, but he couldn't take his own advice about starting over due to his crippling debt.
I won't say how much, but it's multiple millions of dollars.
Jeez, dude. What are you in debt
Sounds
for?
like a pretty scary situation to me. I'm struggling with money too, and I'm thankful every day for the people who believe in what I'm doing. But his situation sounds like a completely different ballpark of financial struggle.
What are you in debt
He
for, dude?
Probably got to the point where he had to put out something. anything, regardless of whatever doubts he may have accumulated in the process. I'm not trying to be a hater here. You know, I feel for him. I wish him the best. I'll definitely be playing his new game the day it comes out, but I hope he takes some of his own advice, looks at some of these issues, and makes his future projects better. You can make my future projects better by liking and subscribing. I'm a small, part-time creator who would love to have more time in the day to make videos.
All right, that was a good video. Give him a like and subscribe, guys. Tell him I sent you. For what it's worth. All right, closing thoughts on it, man. Like, I think the commentary for the anniversary edition is a bad idea. If you wanted a commentary version of the game, just have a toggle switch for the actual playthrough of the game. You can play the game normally, or you can play the game with fucking dialogue in the background, right? I think that would have been a better approach if you wanted to do a sort of quick rundown of game design as you're playing the game. Like, as you're playing, you're like, oh, this puzzle here, this is what I added, and try to match the time it takes to solve the puzzle with the dialogue, right? That would have been a way better approach if you wanted a commentary shoved into the game. The best way for the anniversary would have been, yes, the updated graphics, more levels, which it looks like they added. It's just fucking difficult to get to. Just either add it onto the base game or have a door that has extra levels written on it, and so you can play the extra content. And of course, the level editor. I think the level editor would have made the Braid anniversary game. I think it would have been a lot more well received, more content for people to make and to share around. You know, that's never a bad idea. For letting the user make things for your game, right? That's free labor, brother. That's it for that, man. I'm gonna move on to we're gonna do some Metal Gear Solid. I'm gonna try Metal Gear Solid speedrun. Speedrun practice anyway. So let me go ahead and change this shit and change up the stuff.